What's going on, everyone? I'm Monty, and over the last week we finally got Moira, and oh boy am I excited about it. I've been playing her a lot in quick play on my off time, and I keep noticing a lot of common mistakes people keep making with her. Now, by no means am I an expert. I don't claim that I am that great of a Moira player, but I do play a lot of support, and I can see how she is supposed to be played. And I just don't see a lot of people playing her like that. I think a lot of people, myself included, thought that Moira was gonna be another Zenyatta. They're there to deal a lot of damage and maybe heal a little bit in the off time. But let me tell you, the closest thing Moira has in common with Zenyatta is they're both great at playing with balls. Anyway, I think her heal to damage ratio is supposed to be more like 75-25. Only because if you look at how much her heal does, it is literally one of the strongest heals in the game, speed-wise. I see a lot of Moira players using her offensive sphere a lot more often than her healing sphere, and I think that is a very big mistake. And if you want to take Moira into competitive, you need to know her damage and healing outputs, because let me tell you, friend, they ain't equal. Now, the thing about her damage ball is it only does about 200 damage max, and that damage gets split up between every person that it flies near. Now, just doing some simple math, that's about 33 damage a person if you were to hit every single person on their team. And that's just terrible. That's like a quarter second of a mercy heal. It's not a lot. Now, it is useful if you're hitting one target or two targets maybe, but any more than that, and it's really not worth the 10-second cooldown that you have to suffer through. On the flip side, however, her healing ability heals for a total of 300 health. Now, that is not much better, but it is 100 extra points of healing that you're giving to your team versus the 200 points of damage that you're doing to the enemy team. And that alone makes it a better use. But I digress. Another major issue that I've been seeing with a lot of Moira players is they're using her ult extremely offensively. It's not an offensive ult, guys. I'm sorry, it's just not. It looks cool. I know we all want to be Goku with our Kamehameha waves, but we're more like Krillin or Yamcha. Definitely Yamcha. It just doesn't put out as much damage as people think it does. It only really puts out about 70 damage per second, which isn't bad, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's a bad ability. I'm just saying you should never use this ability as solely offensive. You are really limiting your output with this ability when you do this. And I've been seeing it constantly. I've been seeing them trying to use it to snipe Pharahs out of the sky or, you know, shoot through a Reinhardt shield. It just doesn't have the total damage output that you need to make it worth using offensively. Now, that being said, it heals for 140 health per second. Let that sink in for a second. 140. That is well over twice Mercy's healing. And it shoots through your allies. And it'll hit enemies and damage them for 7 damage per second. Now again, ideally, you want to hit as many of your allies with this healing as you can. And then you're going to want to chip some enemies down with it. But to use this just as an offensive move is a complete waste of an ult. Even to use it as just a purely healing move, I wouldn't say it's as much of a waste, and in some cases it might be worth it, but like, you have to use this ult extremely specifically. You have to be able to use good positioning and get as much use out of that ult as possible, which sounds obvious in all honesty, but I just don't see a lot of Moiras doing it. And I don't mean to sound like some asshole. I'm aware that Moira is a new character, and no one really knows how to play her yet. But the way that I see her being played now, I feel is just literally the opposite way you're supposed to play her. All I'm trying to say is, if you want to take her into competitive, please use her healing ability. Her healing abilities are absolutely ridiculous right now, especially when you start combining them. Her base heal combined with her healing orb basically does the same amount of healing as her ulti does for a brief period of time. It is extremely powerful. Not to mention, it's a self-heal. She has more maneuverability than Ana, and almost the same amount of maneuverability as Mercy, given the fact she can't fly. But her Fade ability is extremely powerful, if used correctly. Now, all that being said, Moira is a really good duelist, I find. She is extremely powerful in a 1v1 scenario, because not only does her basic attack heal her for 33 damage a second, but if you combine your basic attack with either an attack orb or a healing orb, just depending on what you need at the time, you'll either shred through the enemy or you will heal yourself and just be almost unkillable. I find her extremely useful against divas and reapers, just people who have to get in close to actually kill you, because her fade ability allows you to keep that distance. As long as you can keep them about 10 meters away, you'll be able to out-heal most of the damage they do to you. So again, in a 1v1 scenario, she's extremely powerful. But she's not supposed to be this highly aggressive offensive hero, which again, everyone, including myself, probably thought, simply because she has to recharge her healing pool. And on top of all that, her attack sphere does not recharge her healing pool at all, which is another reason why it shouldn't just be thrown around all the time. It is a very situational ability. It's nice that she has it. I love that she has it, because it does give her the ability to output some decent damage when she has to. But she is first and foremost a healer, and I think that people should get that in their minds if they want to play her effectively in competitive. And again, there's nothing wrong if you want to play her offensively. I'm sure there is a way you can play her that works out amazingly offensively, but you just can't neglect your duties as a healer. Anyways, guys, that's gonna do it for me. I really hope you enjoyed this little guide I made. I've never done one before. I figured with a new hero, it would just be fun to do. One that I've got a little bit of experience playing, and one that I'm pretty opinionated about, especially considering I really like her kit. I love how she plays. Even as a healer, she is just so fun. If you want to see more of these little guides, let me know in the comments below. And of course, as always, if you want to stay up to date with all my content, you can press that subscribe button. And lastly, if you enjoy watching people fail at Overwatch, then you can come check me out on one of my live streams, either here on YouTube or on Twitch. And that's it, guys, so until next time, everyone, my name is Montague, and I will see you around.